Welcome everyone to today's webinar, Organizing Your BookWidgets Account. This is an advanced BookWidgets session, so having a BookWidgets account and some familiarity with BookWidgets is important. And if you need any additional information on how to use BookWidgets, feel free to visit our Teacher Academy, where we have plenty of webinars that have been previously recorded, as well as check out our knowledge base and tutorials for some other getting started resources. So today is all about wrapping up the school year and getting yourself organized and set up for success for the next year. So my name is Kate Baker. I'm the head of community engagement here at BookWidgets. I lead the ambassador community, and I am also a veteran educator. I've been in education for 25 years as a classroom teacher and an adjunct professor. So for those of you that are new, what is BookWidgets? It is a content creation and student learning evaluation platform for teachers so that you can support your students' learning process from beginning to end with our 40 different widget activity templates and 36 different question types, 30 of which are auto-scored, so that you can build a variety of professional and interactive lessons. And we have LMS integration, so using Google Classroom, Moodle, Microsoft Teams, Blackboard, etc., will help to keep your students engaged in a trusted learning environment. And then taking a look at student progress, our reporting dashboard and live mode allow you to keep track of your students in real time, as well as offer feedback and additional resources to support their learning journey. All right, so today we're going to take a look at very specific account features for searching and saving results, some different feedback options, and just some overall useful tips and tricks so that you can wrap up this school year and start the next one when it comes time. So a few things for today's agenda. We're going to take a look at some classroom observations and school reviews. Let's take a look at your results. We're going to answer the question of what do you do if a student has to repeat a class or grade, how to start fresh, and then just some, again, additional tips and tricks for your groups and folders and account. Okay, so when you are taking a look at your classroom experience and your students' work, you want to make sure that you can find and present your students' work and the content of those widgets if you need to save them for your end of the year review, for a review committee, or for your evaluator or supervisor. So you don't want to delete results with accompanying feedback. Instead, you want to be able to search and export these results as well as download them. So how do we do that? Okay, so when it comes to searching and exporting your results, you're going to go to the Review tab, and this is where you will be able to click on the little magnifying icon for some quick searching and display of work. And then you will be able to see the widgets that you own from your own account and those that are shared with you. You're not going to be able to see work from other teachers. It's got to be yours. Okay. And then same thing goes for exporting results. You can save the data easily. It'll be a CSV file that you can save locally onto your local device or school drive. And then this way the school has access to the results even if you, the teacher, are no longer working there. There's still some documentation. So where do we find that search? Let's go to my account, and I'm going to come up here to the Review tab. So when I come into Review, I will see my list of courses, any recent submissions, and what I'm looking for is right here is this magnifying glass icon. So I'll zoom in right there. You can see it in the upper corner. So I'm going to click on that, and then that will take me to the search page. And then here I can look for, specific widgets in a specific course. I can search by keyword. If I need to search by student or date, I can go back. You know, if I got to go all the way back to the beginning of the school year, I can do that. And I'll just hit search, but I can also choose, you know, if it's starred, if I've returned the work, or even if I've archived it, I'll be able to search for it and find it. And then when I search, here is where it will come up. And I can see, you know, I search for the title that had SEL in it. And then here I have the different student results. After I search, I can, from here, select all if I need to. I can archive all of these if I need to. If I need to move results to another account, let's say it's for a co-teacher, I can do that. If I need to delete the results, I can do that too, but I caution always with deleting. But this is a really fast and easy way to be able to find individual students' submissions for, let's say, a specific widget type. And then you can navigate to that student's work. Okay. And then when it comes to exporting your results, let's go back over. Let me exit out and go back to review. Okay. So here I see my specific courses. So if I go into a course, give it a second to load. Okay. I have submissions for this particular widget, parts of the house. I can come over here to the gear icon and I can archive it. I can go into the widget itself. And then down here, if I go to submissions, I can select all the work that has been submitted. So we can see those that have not been submitted yet would not be able to be downloaded because there's nothing to download. So if I come to submissions, here is where I can download PDFs of these particular students' submissions, as well as download scores as an Excel CSV file. So again, if you need specific widget activity, specific students, you can go find those results. And when it comes to downloading, it's going to be, again, results will be as a CSV file for easy sorting and review. And then you'll get that overview by class, by student, etc. So if we go to my courses, check the boxes, the gear icon, download scores as an Excel file. So I'll come back up. Whoops, come back, buddy. We'll go up, go back to my courses. Okay. So I'm going to check Kate's live classroom because I want everything from my live classroom. I'm going to come up here. And if I want everything instead of just an individual widget or individual student, check the box, download scores as an Excel. And then I get a couple of different options. So it'll give me a decimal separator if I need a dot or a comma. I can transform points out of 100, round it up if I need to. I can check the box to have that, and then download the Excel file. Keep in mind, if you have a big class, guess what? The download is going to take a little bit of time for your course. And then let's go open it up so you can see what it looks like. And let me drag it over. So luckily I didn't have too many submissions for this course. Come on. Here we go. Nope. Let me go one more over and drag it over this way. Here we go. Okay. So you can see in my CSV file, I get some good information. I get the title of the widget. If it was part of a group, I get the student name, the student ID, the course, if there was a class associated with it, like a learning management system. And then I can see the date that it was submitted and what there we go. There the maximum score is. So luckily this particular set of results was not a big pool. It did not take me a long time to download this. But keep in mind, if you need to do a massive download, it might take a little bit of time to get all that. Okay. All right. So that's how you find the results in downloading those results. Okay. All right, next, let's think about those students who need to repeat a course or a class, and you don't need to see their answers from the previous year. You don't want to see their work. What you can do is reset the widgets so that if the student, again, is taking your class again, you don't necessarily want to have their widget activity saved. You want the student to do the work again. What you will do is go to your account, go to your settings, widget activity, and reset. And then this way, they won't be able to see any previous answers when they open the widget next year, even if you're using the same share link. So how do we find that? I go up to the corner. So up here, my little drop down, I'm going to go to settings. Okay, so you see my account, hide that information. And then when we come down here to the bottom, widget activity, I can set the date of when my school year begins. My school year begins September 1st, but if it was a different date, let's say it was August 15th, I could do that. And then automatically after this date, the widget will be empty again. Student work will not be deleted. It'll be archived. I'll show you where to go find your previous results. But that resetting the widget for the student is really powerful. Okay. You can also from this drop down, if you want it to be, you don't need to do it every year. If the activity is older than a year, or if it's older than 2 years, you can select that from the drop down and just hit save. Okay. And then this will automatically be in your account that the results for this school year, again, all the widgets will reset automatically without you having to worry about it. So again, go check your account, go to settings, scroll down to widget activity and set your school year and hit save, and you are good to go. And then starting fresh, being able to clean up some of your classes and your results, that they're automatically archived every year. So you don't want to, nor do you need to delete any widgets themselves. You can just clean up a little bit and then your results and data will still be there. Okay, so automatic archive. We already got that. The teacher does not need to manually archive work, and it can easily find it by using the school year filters. So how do we do that? We go to review, go to courses, and then school years next to the courses. Okay, let's go show you. So I'm going to go to review. And then up here at the top, we can see that this is what my school year is. September 1st, 2024 to August 31st, 2025. If I need to see older results, I can just click the drop down and then I can select from the previous year. You can see it goes all the way back to 2012. I don't have any students from 2012 in BookWidgets. And if I come over here to, now I change it to 2023. Now we can see, here's the results and the recent, they're not recent anymore, but I can see the submissions, a real quick snapshot there, and when that last activity was. So just changing that drop down lets me see what year that we are in. And then if I need to go find those results from that previous year, it's archived right there automatically. And then just navigate back to the regular school year that I'm currently in. So that will happen automatically. And again, you just make sure that your school year date is set in your account. Right? And then you can also hide courses. So courses that you are no longer teaching, they are also automatically archived each year. So if you go to review courses, select your courses and the gear icon, and then select them to hide. So we'll go here. And if you need to see courses that have been hidden, you can show hidden courses. So I'm going to select Kate's Live Classroom. Go to the gear icon. I'm going to select hide. Oh, it disappeared. Where did it go? Now I'm going to hit show hidden courses. And now we'll see it appear again. And then we see that this this kind of eye icon right here that's crossed out, I know it's kind of small, shows that it is hidden. So that's just indicating that it's hidden. So I'm just going to check the box and say unhide. And then now it's back. And that you can see that that icon has now disappeared. But it is useful if you don't need to see so many different courses. If you teach a lot of different subjects, being able to hide your courses is useful. Now we're moving fast. I don't see any questions coming in yet. All right, now when it takes a look at widget cleanup, so you can make your widgets inaccessible. So you can leave your widgets in your LMS. So let's say you're using Google Classroom and you have your entire unit already laid out in Google Classroom and you're just reusing that Google class. Maybe you're removing students, etc. But you're using, everything is organized for your students in your LMS already. So you can leave your widget activities in your LMS, but they won't be able to access them if you make them inaccessible. So how do we do that? Let's go back to our class here. Okay. I'm going to go into create. I'm going to see my widgets. And again, it has to be one that you have shared already. So this particular one, I shared this quiz. I can come here to the drop down and let's not, and I can do make inaccessible. So when I do that, I'll get the, are you sure you want to make this inaccessible? Okay, so any student that would find this particular link, it would not be there. So now notice I just made that one inaccessible. And now we have the short code is kind of grayed out. And we have this icon here that says it's not able. Okay. Now I want to remake it accessible. I should just be able to. Nope. Hold on. If I go to reshare it, I'm going to grab the link. Okay. I'm going to drop this link in the chat if you want to. Oh, no, actually, I can just show it here. Okay, so now the student will see this. The widget is not accessible. They'll get this error message, okay, if they try to navigate to it, okay? Now, what I want to do is I don't want to make it accessible again from this drop down. See, there's no option to make it accessible. What I need to do is check the box over here, come up to this gear icon up top, and then here, make selected widgets accessible. Yes. Okay, now we see that code is back and we can see that it's all blue. Okay. The only way to make it inaccessible is if you have, it's got to be a shared widget first off. So if you have like this widget, practice quiz for webinar, there's no short code to it. So this was never shared. If I come to this drop down, Notice there's no accessibility. I can't make it inaccessible because it was never accessed in the first place. So I have to share it first. So I'll share it. Do. I have now shared it. Okay, I can grab that link if I need to, but I've shared it. How do I know it's shared? Because here's the short code, it's there. And then now when I go to that drop down, oh, why? It's still not there. You refresh my screen. Hold on. I've shared it. Now, make it accessible appears. Okay. And now I can get rid of it again. Yes. And then if I need to make it accessible, I have to come over here to the left, up top, gear icon, make it accessible. So this is great for like, you have your final exam, you have your unit tests, you have your very important special widgets, that aren't just classwork, like they're major assessments. Making them inaccessible is another way that you can protect the integrity of those very, very important um, assessments. So you don't need to do it for every single one. If you wanted to do multiple ones, I'm going to select all of them in the row here. Now, as a group of them, I can make a group of them inaccessible. Okay, so I don't have to just do one at a time. I could do multiple ones. We will clear selection. Okay. So again, when you're working with an LMS and you don't want to have to repost everything, you already have it built out in your LMS. The way you can protect that integrity is just make your widgets inaccessible. Deleting widgets. Well, you could delete any unfinished widgets. So widgets that were never shared with your students, widgets that you don't need. You can delete them, of course, and then they can be found in the deleted widgets. Okay. But note this, that if you assign a widget through an LMS and you delete the assignment in the LMS, so let's say you've attached a widget to your Google Classroom assignment, and then you delete that Google Classroom assignment, don't worry, the widget itself will still remain in your BookWidgets account. So if you're cleaning up your LMS classes and you decide to delete stuff, don't worry, that will not also delete your widgets in BookWidgets. Okay. So let me go back to my widgets. I'm going to grab these two and I'm going to delete selected widgets. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to delete them. And then if I go, oh no, I need them. I didn't mean to do that. I can go from the drop down here of the gear icon, go to deleted widgets. And then I'll see all my widgets that have been deleted. There they are. And I can select which ones I need. And then I can hit restore. And then, yes, one of them restored when I did from the end. If I do multiple, drop down, I can do restore selected widgets. Yes. So I can do one at a time or a group. And then when I go back to my widgets, there's those widgets that I just deleted. They have returned to my account. Yes, if you update your widget. So let's talk about updating widgets. You go and, well, let me go into the editor view. So I'm going to add a question. I'm just going to make some changes just so you can see it. And then now we get the update. If you make changes to this and you don't hit update, it'll say, you'll get a message that says, oh, you haven't finished updating this yet. If you're still editing, you don't need to update it. If you're like making changes to your widget and then you want to come back to it later, and you're not done yet with your edits, you can just say don't update. But if you're ready to update it for your students, yes, it will update also in your LMS. So wherever you have shared that particular widget, once you've hit update, it will appear wherever. Yep. Okay. This way. Yep. All right. So let's also talk about some widget management. So you as the teacher are in charge of your own account. Remember, students do not have accounts in BookWidgets. It is only the teacher who signs in and has an account. So you are totally in charge of your own account, your widgets that appear in My Widgets, okay, and any widgets that you own that are in shared groups, okay? So you can manage those widgets accordingly. So if I'm in groups, let me go to collaborate so we can see the list of groups that I'm in, okay? I see that I'm an editor, I'm an administrator, administrator in these groups, so that when I go to any group, I can use these widgets. I can manage these widgets. I can make them inaccessible, duplicate them, share them, move them, you name it. Okay. If I go to a group that is, let me go back to the slides first. Okay. If I am a member of a school group, so widgets that are shared in an LMS, let's say like Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, they are automatically going to be placed in a BookWidgets group that is managed by the school. So widgets within that group are controlled by your school administrator, your LMS administrator. This way, the school will have access to the results and the widgets even if you leave. And it just makes account management easier for both you and the school. Okay. So I'm going to come over here one more to this. So I'm in Tammy Teacher. Tammy is part of Google Classroom. She's got a few different classes that she is a member of. How do I know? Well, I have my widgets up here. So Tammy has her widgets that she can manage, move, duplicate, make inaccessible. Okay. But when we come over here to her list of groups, we have some groups that have this icon that's at the end of the name. And that building icon means that this group belongs to your school. So there will be limitations of what you can do with these particular widgets. Okay, so I'm going to go into humanities. All right, and so in humanities, let's say I want to move this particular widget to my widgets. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to the end of the row. I'm going to say move. I want to move this to my widgets. Uh-oh, look what happens. There is this symbol, the kind of do not enter, not allowed. And now even when I go to navigate, I'm like, I'm going to try it anyway. And I'm going to move here. Nope. I cannot remove widgets from a school group. Okay. If I need to move this widget though to another school group, I can. So if I need to move this to, I'm going to move it to Teresa's class. It's part of the school group. I can move it here and you'll see it disappeared from humanities. And if I go over to Teresa's class, we will see there's that world geography. Okay. So even if I move it, even though I own it, Teresa is the owner here. I'm in her account. She can move it amongst the groups that are in her school. Okay. Now, if I want to duplicate, I can still duplicate. I can edit it. I'm going to duplicate the widget. Notice I can't duplicate it to my widgets. I can only duplicate it to another school group. So just keep this in mind that the management of these is at the school level, that your school administrator is keeping your content inside of the school system. Okay. Now, could you go create your widgets in My Widgets, and then you want to duplicate this widget and go the other way, and you want to have it go to, I'm going to go to Humanities, and I want to have it duplicate it here. I can do that. So let me go back now to Humanities, and you should see there is that demo exam is right there. Okay. So if you're creating widgets first in your widgets, and then you know you're using them with the school, you can duplicate them to the school account so that they're there. But then once they're in the school account, sorry, once they're in the school group, not account, once they're in the school group, you will have limited functionality of what you're able to do with them. Okay. Can you still make them inaccessible? Yes. I can make it inaccessible. I can still make it accessible again, but it's a matter of moving them and also sharing them. So if I wanted to share a widget from My Widgets and share it to my Google Classroom, it won't work. I would need to put this into, let's see, Humanities. Let's make sure. Okay, Humanities. Send to Google Classroom. Notice it says this widget is not owned by your school. You have to move or duplicate the widget to a group of your school before sharing it. Okay. So I just wanted to, like, I know it can sound a little confusing, but it's about the management of the widget, that with it has to be in your school group in order for you to share it with the group or move it to another school group. Okay. But again, anything in your widgets, you have complete and total control over. Okay. Now, if you go to transfer to another school or district, so you are you're going to still use your same BookWidgets account, but you need to then link your account to your new school's LMS. And you would probably see that your account, when you try to navigate to, once you've changed schools, your let's say your Google IT admin will remove you from their list. So you won't necessarily see anymore those school groups that you used to be a part of when you were a teacher at the first school. Okay. All right. How do you go and link your accounts to your new LMS? You're going to come up here to your account. Going to go to settings, scroll down, and then here we go, link external accounts. And now you can log into your new school, your new school's accounts. Okay. And can link to them. And yep. So again, widget management, you are in charge of everything that's in yours and your shared groups, but school groups will have limited management that you can do because it's all controlled by your school administrator. And then you don't need to make a brand new BookWidgets account if you change schools. You just need to do the behind the scenes linking to your new school's LMS. Okay. All right, so let's talk about groups and folders. So making sure that you have a well-organized account so that you can have an easier workflow. Make sure that the names of the groups that you belong to don't match the names of your courses, because that can always be a little confusing. You want to have a little bit of a difference, whether you're incorporating emojis, but some sort of system for you in naming that would help to keep you organized. You can duplicate shared widgets and place them in a known location. So with your groups, so again, you're working smarter, not harder, and collaboratively. And then working with folders, having that folder structure in my widgets makes it easy to find resources. So let me go back to create. So we have my widgets. Um, I love to use emojis because I'm very visual. So while I have my names of my different folders, but if I want to, um, you know, have something that stands out a little bit, then I'll use an emoji so I make sure I can quickly go there. It catches my eye. Same thing with widgets. When I name a widget, I will put in, an emoji. Could be a circle, could be a whatever you need. But then, this iconography helps me with staying organized, and it's a good system. So again, having a system that works for you is important. So same thing with, names of groups. I will include an emoji just because I like them. And it helps me to stay organized. Okay. If you need to make some groups, by the way, let me go back. You can just be like in my widgets. I'm going to make a new folder. There's the folder appears. I can just right click for emojis. There it is. It appears up top. When I go into the folder, I can also add folders within folders. So here's a folder in a folder. Oh, I want to make another folder in a folder. Here's a folder in a folder in a folder. I could really be pretty adept with my organizational system if I so choose. So again, having a system that works is important. Okay, some just additional account tips for being organized. So this is just some, kind of general and more helpful tips on templates, emails, exporting your widgets list, and importing questions. So when we take a look at templates, you can create a folder of template widgets so that you can easily duplicate the design and the settings. And then this way, all you need to do is add the content. So if you're doing, let's say, for example, exams, and you like having your exams have a colorful background, create a template with that. And then that will be duplicated every time you duplicate that exam. The same settings will be duplicated in addition to the design. So a good template widget will feature the most commonly used options in your teaching practice. So when you think about like an exam versus a practice formative activity, creating a template for those two types of activities can be really helpful in saving you time. But then also configuring it so that you have your school design. Maybe it's specific colors or logos or a corporate identity if you're doing trainings. And then, again, repeated instructions for repeated questions, for example, instructions. And I like to, when I make templates, I usually will, again, use a naming convention so I have it. So I was making templates the other day for some Edu protocols. If you haven't checked out Edu protocols, that's a kind of a bonus tip. Go check that out. And I was making, let's see, we'll do sketch and tell. So this is where, I have a split worksheet where students will always read a resource and then they will demonstrate that they've understood it. So for example, preview. I have reading article on one side about bees. And then on this side, the protocol is for them to use the tools to create an image, original image or diagram based on what they read. And then they tell, they summarize, they, type out an explanatory paragraph. And then I have a rubric question for them to self-assess. And then they submit the widget. So I do this type of activity multiple times. I just am going to vary the reading passage that they get. So I made a template. So if I go to here, and we'll go take a look at it. So here I have my template. I have a naming convention. I always put template in the title. And then I just, little directions for myself, insert the text, video, web, or PD. And then over here on the side, always going to ask a whiteboard question for them to sketch. Always going to do a long answer question for them to tell. And then always will use the same rubric to assess. And then this can just make it super easy for me to duplicate this widget and swap in the original content. And then I don't have to worry about changing things up too much, that when I go into it, my questions are always there, the rubric's always there, my reporting and general settings are always there. So again, I don't have to recreate the wheel with every widget activity I'm making. And then when I go into preview, if I wanted to, change the design, maybe I want to make it, let's see, I'll do orange. And I want to make it dark background. I can make it feel a little fresh, refreshed by switching up the design. And then I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to close this and then so that you can see, I'm going to duplicate it. Yep, duplicate it here. Yes, duplicate here. And then when I go into it and preview it, you'll see, there it is. My design has stayed intact with it. So again, really useful making templates to save for yourself. And I'm just gonna edit this one, go back to preview, go back to design, go back to blue, and light background. Okay. And then if I want to know the difference between my two, I can always go in and edit the name. This one's the blue one, I think. Or is this? No, this will be the. Yeah, that's the blue one. So I can come up here and I can do emojis, drop in a blue. Close. And if I come over here to this one, orange circle, there we go. Close. And then what's nice is then I have, multiple templates of templates, but again, not creating the wheel. I can make it easy for myself that when I want to quickly add in content, I can do that. Okay. Receiving emails. You can disable receiving emails so that you don't need to receive an email from every submission. When your students are submitting their widgets to you through an LMS, you don't need the emails, nor if you're sharing through a link and they're just submitting it to you, you don't have to get an email update. So how do you change that? You're going to go to Account, My Account, uncheck Email Results To. So let's go back up here to Settings, scroll down, and then here we have student work that I can receive submissions. I want to email results to. If I want to email them, I will check that box, but I don't want to. But then also, again, making sure that results are stored so I can view, download, and analyze the results. Okay. So if you have to have emails, that's great. If you don't want to have emails, that's fine too. And then when it comes to exporting, again, you can export that CSV file of a widget per folder. So this list will give you the name, the type, the short code, links to students, and links to teachers. So this will be useful, for, let's say, you're doing curriculum writing with your colleagues and you want to have a master list in your files that show all of your widget activities as you're doing curriculum writing. You can go to folder and download that CSV. Just keep in mind that you don't want to use those widget links, though, to share widgets within your LMS. You don't want to use that link, the share link. You always want to share it through your LMS configuration. Why? Because it will force your students to sign into their account. Okay. So when I hit share with students, this share link means that, like, whenever I post this link, anyone can log in who has that link. Anyone can submit the widget. When I do share to Google Classroom or share to Microsoft Teams or any other LMS that's linked, this will force the students to sign into their accounts. So then I will always know that it's that particular student. There's some integrity to that sign in. Okay. So this is something we brought up with the exams webinar that we did previously, is that, you don't need to share your widgets by link. So I'm going to uncheck that box so that link is no longer useful to them if someone finds it. But yes, we'll share it through Google Classroom, through the LMS. Okay, so now let me go back to, let's go to WebQuest. Let's say I need a CSV file of all of these widgets. I'm going to export widgets list from the drop down, the gear icon. Export widgets list. It will give me this list with the name, the type, the short code, the folder, links for students, widgets. I didn't share them, so there's no links. And then I can download this as a CSV. We go back to create. It's English language arts. Yeah, I do have some shared ones here. Okay. So I'm going to export widgets list. Now you'll see, here's the name, the type of widget, the short code if it's there, a link for students, and a link for teachers. Download a CSV. Okay, we'll open it up. Let me just, let's go this way. So I can bring it over and show you what the CSV file looks like. Nothing super fancy, but what it will allow you to do then is, sort if you need to sort. You can do, again, saving this on as a hard copy for your files. It's just useful organization. Again, especially when it comes time for curriculum writing, this one's a great one to use to stay organized. All right, and then importing your questions from other widgets. You can create a question database from which you can reuse your questions. So importing questions into like a master widget. You can also import from existing documents, so that, again, real easy to create your widgets and to have those types of templates. So for those of you, just to kind of refresh our memories, the import is not here at the add question, the blue bar. You have to come up here to the corner and import from widget, import from CSV, or import from document. When you do import from widget, it will ask you to go pick a widget that you want to import questions from. You can select which questions to pick, select them all or a few, and hit import. If you hit clear and import, it's going to clear this original widget that you're importing from. Don't do that. Just hit import. There might be a case where you need to clear, but I think more often than not, just importing is sufficient. And then now you see that those questions have appeared. If you do import from document, you have to pull it up from your files, and then you'll select the text and determine if you want to import the question or an answer choice accordingly from their drop downs. Okay. All right, so just some additional handy links. So support at bookwidgets.com. If you ever have a question or a feature request, you can always email us. Um, our webinars previously recorded are at bookwidgets.com/webinars in our Teacher Academy. So this is the last webinar for the spring, May of 2025. We'll start up our webinar series again in the fall of 2025. Additional tutorials and the knowledge base, you can always go there for resources. And then our Facebook group is a great place to go to connect with other BookWidget using educators. And then our blog and our group in BookWidgets are amazing with so many resources for inspiration. And every widget we have ever made for the blog is in that blog group. So if you want to go find again, you liked the templates I shared, or you're searching for specific activities, you can always search for them, and then you can duplicate, copy, etc. To your account and reuse them with your students. So love the blog group. There's so much stuff in there. And right, so I'm so glad our roads have crossed. I'm going to stop the recording so that we can create, so that you can ask me any additional questions you may have coming on camera or the microphone. So thanks again for joining me today.